Weaponized incompetence and greed without guardrails. Those are the two phrases that I would use to describe what I'm seeing at the hands of Elon Musk and his made up agency, the Department of Government Efficiency. Now, the bot driven language is that what do you have against exposing waste, fraud, and abuse? And this narrative is widely baked in all across the internet, coming from right wing circles, that this is some great public service that's being handled by the fake agency that Elon is running. The reality of it is that this is the world's biggest heist that's taking place, and it is being done at such a fast and incompetent scale that there are going to be so many downstream and unintended consequences that it's going to take us years to recover from, if at all. One of the things that we have to understand is that when you look at all of the agencies that have been taken down so far, most of them benefit the average person and have policies and procedures in place that negatively impact the interests that Elon Musk has. The Consumer Protection Finance Bureau, USAID, the FAA, the Department of Education, all of these things are skewed towards protecting the people. And all of those agencies have active investigations and legal proceedings against Elon Musk. And that's before you start looking at the Treasury and before you start looking at the IRS, which is he's going after. You have so many things that's geared towards protecting the taxpayer and regulating business that's being chipped away at by the fake agency and Elon Musk. All at the same time, those breakdowns can be used by Elon Musk to feed his own empire. Think about it. Elon Musk has an AI product, and that AI product is getting destroyed by other AI products that are out there in the world. So what do you need for an LLM, a large language model, for it to be successful? You need massive amounts of data that is clean and verified for you to build a more effective model. So you're telling me that Elon Musk and his team of teen hackers aren't using all of that personal data for multiple sources or multiple reasons? This is a great way for you to springboard and leap ahead of any other AI platform by stealing every single American's data and feeding your business interests. Tesla, one of the most unsafe car on the road right now, was being investigated by a number of different agencies. And he's chipping away at those agencies so that he doesn't have to pay the fines. SpaceX had a rocket blow up, and the FAA was investigating that and rendered a fine. Now the FAA has been gutted and the investigators have been fired. You don't think he's got something to gain from that? This is a clear case of a fox in the henhouse. He's investigating those agencies under the reasoning that there's waste, fraud, and abuse there, and it's going to save the American taxpayer money. But you know what he isn't investigating? The Department of Defense. The Department of Defense has never passed an audit in its history, and it's the second biggest departmental budget in the US government. Is that being investigated? No. Why is that not being investigated? Because he's got massive contracts with the Department of Defense. Getting a $400 million contract to make his crappy cyber trucks into armored vehicles that will go 10 miles before they crap out. That's a good deal if you can get it, right? And that's exactly why he's not investigating the Department of Defense, because the Department of Defense also has oversight over Starlink, and you can't have that being interfered with now, can you? So all of this is what's at stake. The marketing that the Republicans and Trump and Musk are telling you is a complete lie. This is one of the biggest thefts that is happening in plain sight that we have seen in our history. And if you can believe it, it gets even worse. Keep in mind, Elon has had regular conversations with China. He wants to set up new factories in China to build batteries for his crappy cars. And he's had conversations with the Kremlin while having a security clearance for the US. What do you think is happening in those conversations? What deals are being cut in those conversations that work towards Elon's interests and against the American people's interests? Don't you think the Russians and the Chinese would have something to gain by getting access to all of that US citizen data? Don't you think it would be interesting for the Russians and the Chinese to get access to the computer systems that Elon is running through and plant their own Trojan horses and kill switches in there? Maybe that's part of the deal. And at this point, it's probably highly likely because you know what just happened? Elon and his team of teen hackers exposed a whole bunch of intelligence department data to the entire world. Musk and his cronies had set up a Department of Government Efficiency website that got hacked. And in that hack, all the information about one particular department's size, budget, personnel was exposed to the broader internet. And we could chalk it up to it being a mistake. But how many of these other types of leaks have we seen coming out of this administration? There was a recent leak where the administration leaked a bunch of CIA personnel data across unsecured channels. So this is a pattern of behavior. The administration is coming in and dismantling our security services and our safety services that's designed to keep our people safe. And you have Elon Musk and his band of teen hackers exposing all sorts of intel data that might come in really handy for the Russians and the Chinese. And what's Elon going to get on the back end of it? You don't think that there's been some quid pro quo that's been established prior to the election being won? And isn't it interesting that these things are happening after an election where the Chinese and the Russians were actively involved in helping Donald Trump win? Funny how those things work out, isn't it? Maybe it's time for the citizens and the military to get mobilized and understand that there's an oath to the Constitution, not the president, that needs to be enforced. And right now, there's an enemy within, and that enemy is Elon Musk and all of his people who are in the various agencies with private security that's funded by Blackwater, blocking entry from anybody that wants to see what's going on. No oversight, no security, barring access to people that should have access to oversight capability in there, and a whole slew of potentially backroom deals that have been made to compromise the US to the benefit of one billionaire and a couple of foreign adversaries. It's not a James Bond movie. This is happening in real time, and it's way past due that something needs to be done in response to this.